was getting ready to set up for my store a couple years ago now, and they were selling off some of the furniture and fixtures throughout the building, and so I was invited over to take my pick of any, and ended up with a private tour of the entire building as well. And what I immediately noticed as I stepped into the building was just an extreme feeling of heaviness and despair. And we started our tour in the basement, which is very disheveled at this point in its history. And we went to a room that, from what I understand historically, was a morgue. And as we walked towards the back of the room, back corner of the room, I noticed an extreme temperature drop. It felt like it almost should start snowing. And then I noticed in my teeth an extreme pain. Like all of a sudden I felt like my teeth were getting ripped out of my skull or something like that. Hospital that dates to the 1880s, which is right at the beginning of the copper era of Butte's history. And that's when you have 100,000 people in this town, activity going on all the time, and so there's just a lot of energy coursing through this town. I do believe that there is definitely documentation of malpractice happening in this building, but also practices where they thought they were doing the right thing at the time, and we realize that's horribly the wrong practice now.
Right.
Things like that as well. In addition to that, one of the most key pieces of medical history in Butte, unfortunately, is a woman named Gertrude who would take the babies of prostitutes at the brothels here in town and then sell them on the black market. And so to this day, there are people that are discovering through a database that they were a baby through that service of her selling them on the black market.
Wow.
And so there's a strong history of kind of suspicious practices with medicine here in town, but stuff that we're still feeling to this day from people that are still alive today.
That's insane. And as we're doing our investigation tonight, are there any hot spots or any advice that you can give to us to aid throughout the evening?
I would just tell you to exercise extreme caution. You're dealing with a building that I would anticipate saw about 100,000 people at least in its history, and 100,000 different people is a lot of different personalities and energy, and a lot of them ended up dying here and leaving that energy behind here, and I think that that's something you just got to be very careful with being around.
All right. Well, thank you. Yeah, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
This was, of course, the newest section and the biggest addition on the building, but it had a lot of additions between 1881 and 1941, each one being its own building, essentially. They're each structurally standalone structures. Up to the north, well, they would stand alone if they weren't all connected, but up to the north is the north wing. That was built 1898, and the nurses' school, which was built in 1917. Those are part of Mercury Street Medical now. You can see we're redoing the plaster in here, so it looks actually probably about like it would have briefly in 1940, 41. Pretty typical nurses' state. But so we'll go around to the old maternity ward. And the old maternity ward and the new maternity ward both shared the same nursery, which is right here. So right there you step from the 1941 building into the 1881 building. And so this is one of the few areas it's one of those things where what it is it's generational wealth. A
Yeah.
building like this represents the efforts and the lives of hundreds and hundreds of people. Actually, it's involved, many thousands of people, but there's a lot of people who this building represented their whole life's work.
So I also think like one of the reasons when we're ghost hunting is a lot of people don't realize that we're also documenting history. Like we have our motives of trying to find the paranormal, but also like trying to lock into history these buildings and this architecture that were designed. I think it's like part of my reason why I like to do this kind of stuff. So
Yeah, well, and this is, it was unexpected. When I got involved with this building, I knew people were going to be interested in going on tours and things. I did not know the degree to which, it's a huge thing. And the great thing about it, I mean, I'm not personally I guess it's just I haven't had much time. And if anything, when I'm working on it, I mean, the one thing I can say that I do feel is when you stop a building from getting torn down and then you're there fixing it, I mean, you can just feel the people cheering you on who built it, the guys who laid the bricks, the guys who cut this piece of trim. Like, they all were here just as real as we're here now,
Right.
And I don't know his name, but he was here, and I guarantee he's cheering us on when we save his work.
We are going to be doing some yes or no questions with the tarot. I've got Quinn off camera who's going to be asking me questions as I shuffle.
what's going on?
So we can proceed.
You ready for these questions?
Yes.
Can I start anytime?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So my first question is, are we going to have a rough time doing investigations where we're going to get a lot of feedback from the ghosts, like screwing with us, like from our magician read? Or, well, let's start with the yes or no. I apologize. Go ahead.
So repeat your question.
So are the ghosts going to be fucking with us, basically? Or for the PC, are the ghosts going to be messing with us
Okay.
during our investigation?
Oh no. I would like to say no, because that's what the inversion of the cards are, but we also pulled the Tower, which is a notoriously annoying card. So the first card we have is the Tower upright, out of the Major Arcana, and the Tower is usually indicates very significant experiences, big changes, and sometimes not necessarily the best. Maybe in hindsight you can see where it was a positive experience, but in the moment it might not be so fun. The next card that we got is the Inverted Lovers, also of the Major Arcana. And then the third card is the Inverted Justice card. So Major Arcana deck usually, when you pull a read that is all Major Arcanas, it's very big and very significant, regardless of what the
Interesting.
cards themselves are. But so I would say this one is unanswerable based
Okay.
on
All right.
the two inverted would imply that we're not going to have very many issues, but the Tower itself being the upright card and being the first draw contradicts that completely.
All right.
So we will see what happens.
All right, Ghost, look out. I got some more questions. A big question. I don't want to really be like stepping on toes. Well, maybe I do. I don't really know. Maybe we need to do some stuff to provoke Ghosts. But my big question would be, are we upsetting any entities here by being present?
Okay. We are upsetting anybody. Does not look like it. So the first card is the upright Page of Wands. The next card is the inverted Knight of Swords. And the third card is the inverted Ten of Wands.
Okay.
So I would say with the 2 inverted and it being all minor arcana, we're not angering anybody. It seems very neutral. So that is subject to change.
We've been
but at
pretty
this
friendly so
current
far.
time, it doesn't seem like anybody is angry or otherwise perturbed by our existence here. So
Okay.
I think we'll be all right for now.
All right. So outside of the spirit world, is there any other type of entities that are present, including things like demons or things like that?
So you want to know supernatural versus like just people who have passed who have not
Yeah.
quite moved on?
Yeah.
Okay. So
That's a better way to put that.
are we dealing with anything more supernatural versus mundane? Okay. I've got an upright King of Cups, an upright Eight of Swords. Excuse me, sorry. Upright Eight of Swords, and an inverted Six of Cups. So, with the 2 cards being upright versus the 1, we do have something possibly supernatural going on. King of Cups is going to be a little bit more emotional, so it might be a little bit more intense as far as if we experience anything alongside it. But it, yeah.
That was a cold draft.
All right, so here we are on the 4th floor of the old St. James Hospital, and I'm going to be showcasing a newer piece of equipment that I've just built. Pardon the clusterfuck of cords.
Bro, who cares? It's fucking sweet.
But yeah, essentially it's just a Kinect sensor, shoots out infrared laser grid that we can't see obviously with our naked eyes. So yeah, I guess I'm gonna
Give it a go.
give it a go. If there's anybody in this room, can you show yourself, please? Can I hear your voice? Can you bang on a wall? There's something right there. Standing on that table. Alright, if that's a spirit, can you jump onto the ground? Whoa. And then-
jumped like off
And then it jumped off.
screen.
Manifest for us. I mean, it's not a stick figure, but I don't know, that shape right there. I mean, I can kind of distinguish like a head and a lot like arms kind of go. I don't know. I'm not.
You hear that knocking to the right?
this time. Thought I heard a laugh.
Really?
Thought I did, but I could be tripping.
There's a very subtle, like, metallic knocking that I could hear.
It's actually really cool.
It's a dope sick.
Right? So 50s. Oh, I'm at a film. It's kind of unfortunate all this place is gutted here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got nothing showing up on here again.
Should we,
It kind of solidifies the figure that we saw.
Yeah, there's just not a lot of activity up here.
Not really.
He said that, that he felt like he was,
Being asphyxiated.
yeah, by like the smoke and stuff up here. How do you feel?
I feel pretty calm up here,
Yeah.
honestly. Yeah, I don't.
This is one of the more calmer places I felt like I felt in the investigation.
Yeah, honestly,
To be
it's
honest.
super quiet up here.
I think, I don't know if that's because maybe it's not as like broken down, or maybe it's more empty and hollow.
Yeah.
So it leads to less of the mind.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point.
Maybe the women's ward is just nicer.
Or yeah, maybe just the women were super kind. They were nice ghosts.
Yeah. So we're usually, I don't know if you're gonna read your film or not, but the Our Lady of the Mountain is illuminated up on the mountain. You can see it through the windows on that side
Mm.
of the building.
Your tarot cards were right. We would experience stuff if we stuck together. That was fucking kind of scary. I'm glad you got that on camera. Where did that sound like that came from?
I can't tell you. My hearing is different because of the
Could you hear pretty clearly on there?
probably not as clear as you guys could, but I heard it. Yeah. There definitely was something. You can go back. 3, 2, 1.
Andrew.
Okay, we are down here in the basement / tunnel system, I suppose, of the St. James Hospital. Earlier I got a very, very overwhelming feeling and pull to come down inside of this little tunnel system here. Yeah, so here we are. I've got the spirit box. I've got my full spectrum camera constantly recording down the hallway to see if maybe anything can pop up. And then I've got the Ovilus as well. If the spirit box isn't making much sense, the Ovilus will, well, I guess hopefully make more sense.
And then we also set up an EMF with a tripod set up. Hopefully this light will last. But was this the area where you said you got all like discombobulated?
Yeah, and I started feeling very disoriented and confused. You know, like I'm kind of scared a little bit. Not like oh my god, scared, but just like.
Don't like it?
Yeah, I didn't like it. Yeah, yeah, that's exactly it. So yeah, I'm gonna power on the spirit box. No, maybe not yet. Actually, switch things up a little bit and use the Ovilus first, and maybe we can.
Let's move down a bit so we can get off the EMF. Is it right?
Right.
Oh.
If there's anybody down here that would like to communicate with us, would you please make your presence known?
Any spirits want to reach out, want to talk? Speaking of that device that's helping. Okay, is that a planet? Are you Mormon? So this is part of the old hospital, right? Like the remnants of it. You can still see like the old stone houses.
Sounds like scuffles of feet.
He's a good sir. Let's see if we do this. Huge bricks.
Oh, Jesus, fucking. Alright, we're wrapping up the evening here at the St. James Hospital in Butte, Montana. I'd like to give a special thank you to Quincy, and I'd also like to give a special thank you to Tay behind the camera, and to Miles, and to Cameron. Yeah, this has been one hell of an experience. We've traveled within the deepest bowels of this building. Yeah.
I mean, ghosts, we'll leave that up to you. But definitely heard some stuff. It was definitely interesting.
Yeah.
At the very least, really cool history. Like this place is, it's a good spot.
Yeah.
It was